Wow, I'm so pumped I followed that tip to invest all of my savings into these Stonk items. I mean, there's no way this can go wrong. They're just gonna keep climbing in price all the way to the moon. I'm gonna make so much money from this. Actually, let me go check the Bazaar right now and see how much money I've made. Wait. What do you mean these aren't worth anything? I spent 20 million on these each. They can't be useless, surely. I mean, what do you mean? What are you talking about, new patch notes? Fine, I guess I'll have to check them out. Let me check. The stock of Stonk items are now useless. Sucks to suck, loser. What? No! This will be terrible for the economy. No! This is basically what went down a month ago in Skyblock. If you haven't been living under a rock, then you've probably heard about it, but I'll go through exactly what happened with live reactions from the Hypixel forums and the Hypixel Skyblock subreddit, because that's where the most sane Skyblock players hang out, obviously. Spoiler alert, it's gonna be really fucking funny! So how did this all start? Well, we'll have to go back all the way to March 2020 to figure this one out. Yeah, you see, the world was in the middle of this thing, you know, this funny thing called the pandemic. So yeah, some trolling was happening. People were stressing out over toilet paper shortages, but the Skyblock players, they were just chilling, and they were in for a treat. Because on March 10th, 2020, a new update was dropped. It introduced the Bazaar, you know, the feature that lets you buy tons of items with just a click. It also adds tons of scummy real-life economy practices like market manipulation, insider trading, inflation, you know, all that fun stuff. And what else is a more real-life economy thing to happen than to make your very own cryptocurrency in the game? This is the update when the stock of Stonks were added to the game, and if we read in the description, it clearly says that it's a risky investment test item that may get deleted. These were only available on the first day of the update as a testing item for 200 coins per stonk. After that, there would be no more supply. At least not that the initial buyers knew of. From the get-go, it was pretty obvious to anyone with half a brain, which, you know, removes like half the Skyblock population, that it was a high risk and high reward kind of situation. So when a bit over 3 years later they decided to make something useful out of these items, no one would be sad, surprised, or, you know, angry about it, right? I mean, it says right here that it's a test item.
You sure about that?
Yeah, we'll get into that in a bit, but first we should talk about the Stonks themselves. They really did turn out to be a high reward deal and not nearly as risky as everyone thought. Sure, it was a bit volatile and, you know, the price fluctuated a bit, but check out this graph. The price stayed pretty consistent around 20 to 60,000 coins until like February 2021, and that's a big jump from the initial 200 coins that they cost. But then, in February, it slowly started rising. A stonk was worth 100,000 in February, 200,000 in August, and a whopping 800,000 in October. And from October, it held steady until like 2022, where it actually hit 1 million per stonk in November. After that, it soared all the way to 7 million by March the following year, and it finally peaked in February 2024 at almost 35 million. That is insane. Now this sounds perfect, right? Just don't mind the inflation and, you know, the items not actually being worth anything and having no use. The price stayed pretty consistent around, yeah, between 30 and 20 million until June this year. June the 3rd, it was a pretty usual day. You know, I was working. You know, typical stuff that I do. And then when I got home, I saw a new forum post talking about an update. Maybe I thought that maybe, you know, it's a foraging update, but it was not. It was an update to all mayors, basically. It added a lot of cool stuff like the new minister perks that you may have seen. It reworked some of the lackluster mayors like Foxy. But the most important part that I will be highlighting in this video is the changes to Diaz. Diaz before this rework was easily the worst of the mayor candidates. Basically the neglected child of the mayor family. I don't actually think I'd ever seen Diaz elected before, and I've played for a few years, and that just goes to show you how bad the perks were. I guess if you think that 10 times more buy limit is good, you know, so you can go buy your ice and sell it on the Bazaar for a minuscule profit, or maybe you like the higher interest. Sure, that's really good, more money a day, you know, so much better. Truly on par with the other mayors, you know, like the guy that gives you more dungeon stuff, the mayors that add events, or the mayor that gives you more Slayer XP. Surely this is on par. Either way, Hypixel decided a good way to rework Diaz was to make her host a Stonks auction, where you bid with your hard-earned money to get a differing amount of stonks. The top 100 bidders, they get 25 stonks each, and these auctions happen every 10 hours, so you know, during a mayoral term, it's gonna be a lot of stonks in circulation. And they also added an actual use for them, you know, as a currency for new items, as something you use with other items like accessories to upgrade them, but that's not what's interesting. What is interesting is that surprisingly, 97.5% of you guys aren't subscribed. I've got some awesome stuff lined up for you, and trust me, you don't want to miss out on it. So hit that subscribe button so you can stay in touch. I mean, if you regret it later, you can always undo it. No, but really, the interesting thing is that Hypixel added a way for the new stonks to be made, which according to the supply and demand model means that as supply increases, you know, as more stonks get into circulation, when demand is high, it will lower. So the price will go down to equilibrium, and you know, equilibrium is good, because that's, you know, a fair price. But when the supply steadily increases and demand doesn't, that actually, you know, that can be pretty bad, because that means the price will it will, instead of going to the moon, will go down into the Marinara Trench. And you know, if you own a lot of stonks, that's really bad for you, because you'll lose a lot of money. And I mean, the stonks, they won't become worthless per se, but they'll be a far cry from the 35 million that they peaked at before. And naturally, once this started getting a little spread, both on the forums and like in-game, panic, complete and utter chaos all over the game. People started panic selling all of the stonks that they owned. You know what that does when a price is initially falling and people just sell? Well, that's that's not good. So the prices, they went down from around a stable 20 million apiece to first 13, but then once it was implemented, you know, now in July, they're down at 4 million. And this is bad, I mean, for a lot of rich people in the game, because they, you know, they can't put all their money in the bank. So a lot of them feel like, you know, instead of just having the money and inflation make my money worth less, I'm gonna invest it in stonks, which always rise in price. So when all of these rich people have a lot of their net worth in stonks and the price tanks, it's taking a big chunk of the money that's circulated in the economy out. This could actually help reduce the inflation in the game, which is a win for everyone, because, you know, inflation's not very good. The thing is, it's just gonna sting a bit for all those people who had a lot of stonks and lost all of it overnight. My opinion, my firm belief is that the stonks, they're gonna rise a bit, but since this happened, it's not gonna be something huge again. It's not gonna soar to 40 million, is what I think at least. But if you're on the copium and believe that, then all the more power to you guys. You're free to do whatever you want as long as it's not illegal. Let's actually look at some of the actual reactions that people did on the subreddit and the forums around this, because it's really funny and this is giving birth to some pretty funny copy pastas.
Could we not do this? The point of the stock of stonks is that they are useless and unobtainable. They used to be like bitcoins, now they are trash. Can you just make a new item to replace the new uses of the stock of stonks instead of making them useful?
I can't. Even this, what am I reading?
I'm cooked. Done for. I've lost billions. What an absolute wonder that I got a life lesson from a video game like Minecraft. I sincerely hope whoever suggested or implemented this update, may both sides of your pillow be warm.
People losing billions over this? Reading these things, it kind of makes you feel like the Joker in a way. You know the video?
It's not about money.
I've lost 4 billion in a day. Fuck me.
I don't know, man. It is really funny to me to watch people be salty over losing video game money for an item whose sole purpose was being a test. They literally said it. You signed up, you signed for it, then you gotta pay the price. I'm just glad they gave the item an actual use. I'm glad they kind of fixed the economy by doing it too, because I mean the inflation's pretty much, it's a lot better now. Some people say that Hypixel ruined the economy around this, but I'm not really of that opinion. I think it kind of ruined the economy for a lot of people, you know, people that actually kept their money in the stonks, which they shouldn't have because that's risky in the first place, but I also think it's good, you know? Either way, I hope you enjoyed this quick recap of what's been happening in Skyblock over these last few weeks. I'm pretty sure I'm the only YouTuber who's made a video on this, totally. If you enjoyed this video and the timeline of the rise and fall of the stock of stonks, then please show your support by liking the video and subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Your support means a lot to me. Stay tuned and I'll see you around for the next video. You don't want to miss it. Bye!